We're just gonna go for it. Who needs a script? It was the chair, it wasn't me. What's up everybody, Just Brewing here. Welcome to part one of Between the Taps, where I'm going to spotlight some of the beers that I've brewed recently, but beers that are not going to get their own grain to glass video. So this is going to be an opportunity for me to go over what else I've got going on here in the Keyser and in my brew space here, my brewery. But you know, without having to put you through either a 4 or 5 hour live stream or a 20-minute grain to glass video. Hopefully these are going to be short. That's the idea. But let's go ahead and get into it. I've done too many takes. I really want to get into it. Now, the beers that I've got on tap are all going to be served at my wedding later, but what we're seeing right now is just kind of the trial run of it, just to make sure that people will take to it, that it tastes good. And the recipes that I put together from many sources, that they'll work for what we're trying to do for a summer, evening, late afternoon wedding. None of these are going to be strong. They're all right around 4%. If you're looking for the recipe, just check the description. I'll put any other information that I have either in a card or in the description below. So if that's what you're looking for, make sure to check that out. But we're going to go ahead and get started. First with a Pilsner ale called Lite of My Life. It's a pseudo lager that I kind of put together from a few different recipes. But again, if you're looking for it, it's going to be in the description. This was my first attempt at a Pilsner or a pseudo lager. I don't have the means or patience to brew a lager. I just got my first fermentation chamber, so you'll likely see that in the coming video. But I'm not terribly interested in waiting 6 weeks for a beer, so I found many other ways to try to expedite that. Elementary Brewing, Wolf King Brewing as well have done a few relatively short means of a pseudo lager with what was one of the most basic yeasts out there. It's super light, it's very crisp and clean. I did use gelatin to clean it up just to make sure that it's going to give you that Pilsner look, that lager look and feel. And I really think that I accomplished that here. My only complaint with this beer is it is a little too corny for me. Corny in that the flaked corn, there's just a little too much. There's 1.5 pounds in this, and I may just go 1 pound next time. It tastes good. It smells good. I don't want no corniness out of it, because you know, some light lagers, American lagers, Bud Lights, the lights if you will, those are a little corny on the nose and sometimes to the taste as well. Usually they're just so watery that you don't get to pick up on something like that. But since this is a real beer, there's a lot of flavor to it. Next up, we have Sour Special Day. It is a raspberry sour, a similar recipe that I've brewed before. A lot of my friends and family had fantastic feedback for that, and it was actually probably the best beer I'd ever made. I'll put the card here for those that are interested in watching the video, but this is the second time I've actually done this, but this time around I used Philly sour yeast instead of lactobacillus. Lactobacillus is used to kettle sour your beer. This time around I used Philly yeast, which actually lowers the pH of your wort as the yeast eats away at that sugar. So as it's producing alcohol, it's also lowering the pH of the beer, which gives us sourness. This is a very photogenic beer. It looks absolutely fantastic. It tastes good too. Again, it is a little too sour, almost so much that you may not go and grab another one. That's not necessarily bad, but those that have a higher tolerance for it may enjoy it. But those that don't drink that many sours, the first 1 or 2 may do it for you. Luckily they're 4%, so you can go for something else. Up next we have Wedding Smashers, a smash IPA using Marris Otter and Dorado hops. This is a really good beer. It's a textbook IPA. I love the color and smell of this beer. When it comes to the taste, it does taste good. It's a good beer. But next time I think I might go with something like one of the C hops, something like a Citra or a Columbus, something with a little bit more flavor to it. This is really good. There is a grassiness, a pininess to it, but I think I might go more of a citrusy route with it opposed to the piney route. I do like Dorado as a hop, but there are some others that kind of are going to be better for this type of setting. It's going to be a good beer. People are going to like it, especially if you like IPAs. But I also want this to appeal to people that don't like IPAs. Last on tap is Hazel-Nuptials. This is a hazelnut porter that I've brewed before, the first time being extract. This is an all grain one. It was a really good way to get in and tweak it a little bit better. This time around, I did do a hazelnut dry hop, where I dry hopped with essentially about half a pound of roasted hazelnuts. I did add roasted hazelnuts to the mash like I did the first time around, and it turned out absolutely fantastic. It's not heavy, it's not bitter. I didn't want to do a stout because that likely turns people off if they're not often drinking beer, but something like hazelnut porter may, you may attract some eyes, and that's exactly the plan. I want people to, have a little bit of variety and especially try something new. This is not intimidating at all. Next time around, I think I'm just going to add a pound or two of flaked oats just for a little bit of breadiness, some oatiness to it, as well as some head retention. The beer is really, really good as is, but if I'm going to make any changes, I'm probably going to fix the head retention. Right now it's doing okay, but inside in the AC it's doing well. Outside, it may not be that way, so I may have to do another test on it, but flaked oats is on the grain build next time around. So that's going to do it for the beers that are on tap. I do have a couple honorable mentions that are in a bottle right now. Some time ago, I did some brewing and I split the packaging where I kegged half and bottled half. What you're about to see is just a couple, some bottles that I have laying around. Up first is Golden Hour. This is a Belgian golden ale that I did live stream. It was supposed to be an orange triple, but my efficiency got thrown off. It was supposed to be what was, 8.5%. It turned out to be about 5, so it wasn't exactly what I wanted it to be, but it's still a really good beer. It's almost too bitter, I think. I did go, I think, too hard on the orange peel. They were sweet orange peels, but it's still a little bitter just because orange peels generally are, they're pretty bitter. It's still on bottle because I'm not gravitating to it. I mean, it's a good beer, but it's not exactly what I'm looking for right now. So on to the next one. Last but certainly not least is Brown Bessie. This is a chocolate milk stout that I brewed some time ago, live streamed this as well, and it tasted really, really good. I like the beer. I did split this one as well, where I did half on nitro and half in a bottle and on CO2. The nitro beer was good. It was light. It just was not what I wanted, only because putting a beer on nitro really kind of mutes some of the flavor. And it was good. It was definitely, another breakfast brunch beer. I did add cocoa nibs to the beer at the boil. So it was one of those things where it should have been there. You definitely get it out of the CO2 version here in the bottle. But on tap, it just was not there. There weren't very many differences between the two other than, just one being on nitro, the other being on CO2. It being on CO2 out of the bottle, it's got a lot of body to it. It's pretty thick, and that's what you get out of adding lactose to a beer. You get another layer to the mouthfeel. It's exactly what you want out of a milk stout, but I do wish it was a little bit stronger and maybe just a little bit more chocolatey. It's a chocolate milk stout, but it's more of a milk stout with chocolate, if that makes any sense. And just like that, that's all the beer that I can serve right now. I am fermenting one, and I'm going to be brewing later on as well. A video on both of those when the time is right. Hit that like button. Make sure to subscribe if you haven't already. I absolutely love interacting with you guys. So if you have any recommendations, feel free to put them in the comment section. This is a fantastic community that we have here, and I'm just super stoked to be a part of it. So yeah, that's it for me. I'm gonna shut up now. I've got some beer to drink, and I got some cleaning to do because I've made one too many messes in the hour it's taken me to get this recording done. So thanks for viewing Just Brewing. Wow, that was a long one.